Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Opinions, Facts, and Stats podcast. I'm your host, Tyler. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering where my buddy Garrett is. Well, he's on vacation with his girl. That's no problem at all because I'm going to make sure that we keep this thing running. We have a lot to talk about, guys, a lot. NFL free agency is just coming around the bend. Legal tampering starts Monday, and then Wednesday at 12 o'clock is when we're going to start to see a lot of free agency, a lot of trades, a lot of signings. And that's going to be the best thing because I think that is one of the most exciting parts about the NFL calendar year, right? We all love to watch the games. We all love the Super Bowl, the combine, the draft, everything. But this right here is where we're really going to get to see how all these teams are going to get better, right? And the biggest thing that I want to talk about, guys, is one of the most massive trades that has happened already, and that is between the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers, right? The Panthers traded all the way from number nine to number one, right? And if you think about that, guys, that's a big jump, right? Everyone was talking about, the Houston Texans, they're going to jump from 2 to 1, no big deal. They're not going to have to give up as much. I never thought Houston was going to trade up. No matter what the Bears did, no matter who they traded with, I think the Texans knew who they were going to be getting between one of the quarterbacks. And nothing changed with the Panthers going up there, right? There were all those reports coming out that says that the Panthers are looking at C.J. Stroud to be the guy. But then you got Bryce Young, right? And I think that when it comes to the top of the draft now, it's really going to shake things up, okay? Before I get into the actual draft, let's go over quickly what the Bears traded. Obviously, they traded the number one pick, but what did the Panthers give up, right? And so the Panthers gave to the Bears the number 9 overall pick this year, their 2023, the number 61 overall pick, a 2024 first, a 2025 second, and this name right here is going to be the biggest name that I think this is why the Bears won the trade, right? I don't even think it even matter about these picks. It's DJ Moore, the receiver from the Panthers, right? This guy, to me, is a bona fide number one receiver. People don't realize that DJ Moore was on a not a good team. Like, no offense to the Panthers, but, your top quarterbacks were Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, P.J. Walker, Matt Corral. All these guys, none of these guys are elite quarterbacks. I'm not even saying – I don't want to say they're average. I think a lot of them are below average. Darnold showed something at the end of the year, and I got to give him props for that one. But it wasn't like, this guy's not the guy long term. Like, that. It's pretty easy to tell. Now the Panthers get to go to number one, and they get the pick of the litter, right? They could pick whoever they want, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and either Anthony Richardson, right? Will Levis. But first off, Dylan, let me tell you right now, your buddy, he's celebrating his birthday. That's what he's doing. So he's going to be back on Wednesday with me when we talk about free agency. So tune in on Wednesday, bud. But yeah, he's out celebrating his birthday today, which is no problem. My buddy's 28 years old. He's an old man now. So, let him go do his thing, and he'll be returning before you know it, bud. But yeah, so like I was saying, you got the Panthers have a choice of the quarterback they want. I said already that I think it's C.J. Stroud. But again, if we're looking at intangibles, though, I think Bryce Young has a higher ceiling. But just C.J. Stroud as a whole, I think C.J. Stroud is a better quarterback. Now, when I say better quarterback, I think he's a better passer, right? Just based on his size, too. He's 6'3", he's about 205, 210. So he has the body of a typical quarterback. Now, I know everyone's like, who really cares about the typical quarterback, right? They're always just like, hey, if he can throw the ball, it shouldn't matter about height. And yeah, I don't think it's all about height. Like, don't get me wrong there. I'm not sitting here saying that, I think that Bryce Young should have been the number one overall pick. I like Bryce Young. I really do. I think he's going to be a very talented quarterback. I just think you need to look at it as twofold, saying, who is the guy that's going to be the more stable quarterback for you, right? Because Bryce Young is slight of build. He's smaller, but he has a good arm. He's very smart. I was reading reports that this guy was killing it in the interviews. Like, he was killing it. And that's a good thing because these teams look at that. They take that into heavy consideration, everyone. And I think that's the biggest thing there that you need to kind of take as a whole and say, hey, this guy killed the interview process. He showed that he's a leader. He showed that he can lead a team. And that's what these teams are looking for, right? And that's why the Panthers jumped up. Now, the funny thing is, the Panthers jumping up to number one was a shock to me, right? And I hope I please comment if you guys think it was a shock to you guys too, because I know there were rumblings about the Panthers possibly wanting to jump up there and, maybe try to get to the top 5, top 4. But to go to number one, I got to be honest, like that's a jump, right? And that's why they had to give up all this. I think the Bears are sitting there going, well, we have our quarterback, Justin Fields, and I think this right here has shown everyone Justin Fields is the guy for the Bears. He is, okay? He just not had any weapons, right? They traded for Chase Claypool last year, and don't get me wrong, he's a good player. He's good. Darnell Mooney's good, but now you got a bona fide number one, right? You can kind of slide Claypool and Mooney into that 2-3 kind of lane, and I think that's where they settle better, because you got DJ Moore who can play inside, outside. You got Chase Claypool, the big guy, the guy who can go up and get the ball on the outside, and then you got Mooney, who's more of your kind of slot guy in the middle. And then Komet. So you have a good setup, in my opinion, and I think that's going to be really good for them. The Panthers had to give up what they had to give up. And, everyone's going to critique it in their own way. I think they were kind of swindled. I think the Bears definitely won that trade just based on they got DJ Moore. I don't look at it as going, well, they got the number 9 overall pick, whatever. Like, they jumped back so many spots. Yeah, but if you look at the draft as a whole, though, everyone, the Panthers are taking a quarterback number 1. We all know that. The Texans most likely are taking quarterback number 2. Now, the Cardinals is where it gets really interesting to me because I feel like the Cardinals are going to try and trade back and see kind of where that whole situation arises there. If they don't move out of 3, because they have Kyler Murray, and we all know Kyler Murray's coming off an ACL injury, so I don't really know where that's going to kind of come into play, in my opinion. I think that in general, they need to go defense. They need to go O-line. I get that. Every team in this universe needs offensive linemen. That's never a question. That's never even an issue. It's just that, at number 3, they're gonna look at Will Anderson, right? Will Anderson is that number 1 type prospect, the guy who is going to come in here and be a game changer for you, right? He's going to be the leader of your defense. He's going to be the guy that everyone relies on, right? Now, a lot of people before the Jalen Carter incident had him going number 3 to the Cardinals. Well, I have a hard time putting him there now, not because he's not talented, but again, it's this off-field issues. I don't know. They need to be clear and concise about what the background on him is, right? They cannot, because the Cardinals are kind of a dumpster fire right now. They got a new head coach. They have their new GM. They need to figure things out right now. They need to figure it out. And, getting that bona fide defensive star is going to be the first step in showing people, hey, listen, we're going to get back there, right? You get the defensive star, either Carter, Anderson, maybe it's a corner. Maybe they possibly need another corner. So maybe it's, Christian Gonzalez goes there. Maybe I like Joey Porter Jr. Like, there are so many things that the Cardinals could do. If I was the Cardinals, though, I would trade back hands down because they need more picks. And I could even see the Bears trading back again just because, the The Bears need so much to get better. I feel that the Cardinals need that too. The Cardinals just are kind of in that limbo phase, right? They have a quarterback in Kyler Murray who you paid a lot of money for, which I'm not even going to get into that. I think it was stupid. I think he's not really worth that money. But again, this is what the market is for quarterbacks. I mean, look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, a one-year wonder, a guy who had that one good year with Brian Daboll. Before that, he was average at best. He got a good contract. So that's kind of the market for these quarterbacks nowadays. I think Kyler did get a little too much, but that's neither here nor there. So that's where I find it kind of interesting to be like, hey, listen, number 3 is going to be that kind of place where the two quarterbacks are going off 1 and 2. Boom, there you go. That. And then we're going to go into number 3, and we're going to say, hey, what are the Cardinals doing? What's their pick? I think it's going to be defense. That's kind of just where my mind has been going. Just looking at drafts and kind of just seeing what's up. I feel like that's where they're going to be, unless they get a massive haul for a trade back. That's where I have them going. That's the whole situation there that I find really interesting to me, that when you look at the Cardinals again, they're in limbo. They got to figure out what to do. I don't really, they need so many pieces. And the next team that I find so interesting, I feel like you're going to see like all 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10 easily, because so many teams need a quarterback, right? We've already discussed the Texans and the Panthers now, 1 and 2. We know where they're at. We know what they're doing. We know what the situation is. The Colts are picking 4, right? And the Colts, to me, are a team who has talent, right? They just got their new coach. They have good talent. It's just that the quarterback, again, has been the issue with them for a while now, right? They all thought they could do it with Carson Wentz. That didn't work, right? They all thought they could do it with Matt Ryan. That didn't work, right? They've been kind of up and down for a while now. And I think at 4, they're definitely going to go quarterback. So if I'm thinking about this long term and thinking about what's going to happen, like I said, Panthers, I think, are going to go either probably CJ Stroud. Again, Bryce Young very much could go there, but I think it's going to be Stroud. And then between Stroud and Young, whoever Panthers don't take, I think Houston will take. And then I think Arizona, like I said, it's going to go defense. I think that's what they're going to look at. But then you got Indy, and I think Indy is going to be very infatuated with Will Levis. He just, to me, seems like that kind of guy. He seems like the guy where you're like, yes, that's who they need. That's what they're going to do. To me, Will Levis is not that good of a quarterback prospect, in my opinion. And again, I'm not trying to bash on the guy. I'm not being like, oh, God, you're the worst quarterback. I just don't think he's where some people think he is, right? He's got a great arm. He's strong, right? But the funny thing is that at the combine, Stetson Bennett threw just as hard as him. And Bennett's 5'10". You know what I'm saying? And Will Levis is 6'3". So think about that one there when you're kind of evaluating that, right? Will Levis is that guy who shows flashes, but then that guy who you just know just doesn't have it. And I think that's kind of where you got to kind of look at the Colts and say, okay, what are they going to do? Okay, because if it's not Will Levis, right, the only other guy that I see going in the top, the top 5, top 10 is Anthony Richardson, right? And Anthony Richardson is that kind of enigma. He's that guy who you just look at him and you go, he has all the physical tools, right? He has a strong arm. He's got the build. He has the speed. He has the stamina. He has all that, right? And supposedly he interviewed very well. People liked him. Like, people were like, wow, this guy knows football. And I think he does. He's just not accurate right now. And you could even see at the combine, he struggled on the out routes, getting to that sideline. He has the arm, but the placement isn't where I think people are like expecting it to be. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of where the Colts are going to have a tough time, because that 1-2 are going to go, and then they're going to look at it and go, is it Will Levis? is the Anthony Richardson. Again, I just have a gut feeling that Will Levis is gonna be the pick. I just do. I don't think he should be. I don't think he should. That's what I think. Now, the place that I think Anthony Richardson should go is Seattle, straight up, because Seattle to me is a perfect spot for this guy to go to, right? He is going to be sitting behind Geno Smith for the next 2 or 3 years, right? Be able to learn from a veteran, a guy who was a comeback player of the year, who has all the intangibles to teach this guy. And he's even said he want to teach him. Obviously, when you're a starting quarterback, you don't want to be teaching these guys behind you, because I feel like you kind of get in that place where you're like, well, this guy's coming for my job, so why should I? You know what I mean? Like that's the hard thing. But the way that Seattle runs their offense is the perfect spot for Richardson, because again, he sits behind Geno Smith for 2 to 3 years. He's the guy that can learn, can get himself ready, and then in 2 or 3 years, he's the guy, right? And they have the downfield targets on Lockett and DK Metcalf, the guy who wants the long ball, right? And Anthony Richardson can throw that in spades. They're not the short intermediate offense. They're not. They're run the ball, throw it deep, right? That's how they kind of run their offense. And I feel like that's why Richardson would be the perfect spot for them at Seattle. Again, locking up Geno, who knows if they're going to go quarterback, but I'm just saying if they do, I think that's the best possible spot for them to go, right? Because after that, Detroit. And again, I'm not going to go through every one of these, but I just wanted, like, the top 10 is where I kind of want to start, just quickly go over quick. But like I said, the next is Detroit, because they got that from the Rams, right, when they traded Stafford. The Lions, to me, are this up-and-coming team. They have this tremendous offense. They do. And even Jared Goff has shown that he can play, right? It's that their defense let them down so much. They got pillars. They do. And Aiden Hutchinson, he came on and he balled out. He was a player. He was the best player. I think he should have been the number 1 overall pick last year, but you know what? Jaguars took what they did, and look where they are now. So I think both teams won in that draft, no matter what. But Detroit needs defense. They do. That's just the way it is. And I feel like this is where they're going to go corner. I feel like this is where they go Christian Gonzalez. I'm going to tell you that right now. Christian Gonzalez to Detroit at number 6, just because they have that one corner and Jeff Okudah, and they have some good depth guys, but they need that next guy, right? They need the guy next to him, right? And Christian Gonzalez is that's a perfect spot to go to Detroit, right? If Detroit gets their defense in order and they get pieces, I'm telling you right now, look out for Detroit, because they have a great offense. They have the place to be. They know what they need to do. They just need that defense. You get that defense, and I'm telling you right now, everyone, watch out. They're going to come. They're coming. Their coach is a good coach. They just need some more defensive pieces, and they will be in, like, at least a playoff hunt. All right, I'm not saying they're going to win Super Bowl or anything like that, but they're going to be there. And that's where I think everyone needs to kind of look and see what that team is going to be, right? Now, at number 7 is the Raiders, right? And the Raiders are in a very precarious situation, in my opinion, because they just got rid of a Derek Carr. Derek Carr went to the Saints, and they're kind of left in limbo now. Like, what are they going to do, right? They have Jarrett Stidham. I think Stidham's a free agent, but either way, they're kind of in a tough spot right now, because they've talked to the Patriots about Mac Jones. Pats aren't trading Mac Jones unless the Raiders came here and said, hey, we'll give you all this to get Mac Jones. It's not happening. I want to shut that down right now. Patriots are not trading Mac Jones, at least this year, right? Come next year, we can totally discuss that next year and go from there. But that's where I want to get out of the way quick. The Raiders, to me, they want a quarterback. They do. But if those top 4 go, then they're in that kind of, what do we do? What do we do? What should we do? What should we not do? I think they're going to go veteran, 100%. I think they're going to go Jimmy G, whoever else becomes available on the market. I don't think they're going for Lamar Jackson. We'll discuss Lamar Jackson quick in a few, but I don't think they're going to go for Lamar. I think Jimmy G is going to be the spot, and maybe they draft like a Hendon Hooker in the 2nd round if that works out. But at number 7, I can see them trading back. If not, they have a decent defense and their offense is better, but I think they're going to go O-line. Like, I really do. I think O-line is going to be the spot for them. That's where I can kind of see maybe the Peter Skoronski going there, because like I said before, he is technically sound, but doesn't have the highest upside. He's just a very solid, what you're getting from him, back to tackle, right? But I can see the Raiders getting a little, interested with Broderick Jones. The guy who has all the athletic ability in the world, but he is raw, so he needs to learn some things. But again, do you go for the safe pick in Skoronski, or do you go for the higher end upside in Broderick Jones? And then Paris Johnson to me is in that kind of right between, like kind of sandwiched right in the middle between those two players. So I truly think that the Raiders are going to go a lineman, like a tackle, or even maybe they go interior. That is definitely a thing, but I think they're going to go O-line. I think whoever their quarterback is, they got to protect. They have to because they have pieces. They have, like I said, Waller, Adams, all those guys. They just franchise tag Josh Jacobs. So I definitely can see them doing that. I think that's going to be their spot. So exactly, like I said, stay tuned for that one because that one I'm intrigued by. Atlanta, again, Atlanta's tough to me because they could be a sneaky team that tries to go for Lamar Jackson and trade those 2 first-rounders. So if they do, then the Ravens will have this pick. But for right now, I'll just kind of quickly go over. They need defense too. This is why I think they can go corner. If not, remember this name, Tyree Wilson. Okay, this guy to me could be a sneaky from Texas Tech. He could be a sneaky target here because he has a good pass rush ability. He's a good run defender. He's a little stiff in the body, but I think he could be a great spot for them. If not, Joey Porter Jr., I definitely could see him going to Atlanta. They need more corner help, but they also need line. Again, every one of these teams need linemen. That's just the way the NFL works nowadays. They need O-line. And that, again, that's where they could go, whoever's left, Skoronski or Johnson, whatever it may be. Again, if Desmond Ridder is the future of Atlanta, you got to protect him. You got to see what he can do. Maybe you go for a weapon too, like, another receiver or tight end. Maybe they go tight end, but they already have Kyle Pitts. It's going to be interesting to me. That is going to be interesting because they need a lot for this team and they don't have that much cap space. So they're kind of, like I said, they're in that kind of, what do we do? Should we go for the high upside player or should we go for the safe pick? That's kind of where I feel like they're going to fall. And then Chicago number 9. Chicago's here now. Chicago, I'm telling you right now, they're going to go linemen. I just have a feeling they're going to go line. They need to protect Justin Fields. If you got him the weapon now, you need to protect Justin Fields, right? And if they don't go O-line, it's going to be defense. Like Jalen Carter could very much go here. I know he has the off-the-field issues, but he very much could go here. I really think that is a place for him to go as long as the off-field issues are checked out. They know what they're getting into. They see what he's doing. And then kind of move on from there, right? I think that's a very good spot for him to go to Chicago because they need that piece, right? They need that physical presence. So if they don't go defense, it's going to be a lineman like Paris Johnson, unless they love one of these other guys that they maybe they trade back again and get a lineman. But I really think they're going to go defense or O-line. But like when I say defense, I mean like defensive line, right? They need corner help. They do. But again, if Jalen Carter is there and his off-field issues have been checked and they know what he is and who he is, then he should be the pick there, hands down. They don't even question that. He was supposed to go to the top 2. That is where I kind of see them going, right? And then the last one is Philly, number 10, right? Philly's losing a lot of pieces on their defense, a lot of pieces. They just re-signed Brandon Graham, but they're losing Fletcher Cox. Darius Slay has asked for a trade, right? They're going to lose TJ Edwards. They're losing a lot of pieces, right? And now losing TJ Edwards, they got Nakobe Dean to come in there. I think they're going to be fine there. They still have good depth on the D-line. But I forgot, they're also losing Javon Hargrave. Again, they're losing a lot of pieces. We'll kind of see where they go, but that's kind of where I kind of see them. I feel like they need to just, they're going to pay Jalen Hurts. We know that they're paying Jalen Hurts. That's what they're going to do. Now, how much he gets, who knows? Is he going to be that person who takes a discount, or does he want the full bag? He very much could. But if they don't, I think Philly could look at another weapon here. They could, but I don't think they're going to. Their O-line is still good unless Jason Kelce. If Jason Kelce retires, John Smith for, I think, Minnesota, he is a guy I think they could go for if they lose Kelce. that if he doesn't come back and they lose him, I think that he could be a sneaky pick at number 10, a guy people aren't talking about much. But look at Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey was a later round pick for the Chiefs, and he worked out amazingly. So just kind of be aware of that kind of name. I think could really be something beneficial for them. I just feel like that is a good spot for that. And if not, defense, D-line. Some guys have jumped up, but I don't know if necessarily what's it called? What they're gonna do. Philly's that kind of team where I don't really know what their mindset is. I guess the other spot could be corner. If Joey Porter Jr. goes early and Christian Gonzalez goes early, maybe Devin Witherspoon is there for the taking. Again, he measured smaller and lighter than I thought. He measured about 5'10", 5'11", so he is more kind of that slot nickel corner. But again, especially if they lose Darius Slay, if they trade Darius Slay, then they're going to have to look at the corner. And if one of the top corners are there, I think that definitely could be a pick. So that's kind of the top 10. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it that crazy, but what I do want to quickly get into is some kind of offseason transactions that already have happened. A big one is Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen from Minnesota has been released, right? Adam Thielen, to me, is a sneaky good veteran, 32 years old. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. He does get hurt a lot. So I think whatever team signs him, they have to look at that and say, is he going to be available to us? And I think that's hard because you can't really depict if this guy's going to be healthy or not. It's how the season works out. But he's a very good receiver. He really is. I've talked about how I want him in the Patriots. And, I think he'd be an awesome kind of slot guy if we don't re-sign Jacoby Myers. But to me, that was a very shocking one. I know people have discussed that they were trying to restructure his deal, but he was gonna his cap was 20 mil. So that's big. That is big. And I just don't really know if that's going to be something that Minnesota was comfortable with. They're trying to shave money off, and they have, by getting rid of Thielen, heard reports they might get rid of Harrison Smith, their longtime safety. If they do, definitely look at a safety in the draft for them or free agency. There's some really good safeties coming out in free agency. So I think that's going to be a big spot. A lot of teams went to go check out Odell Beckham's tryout. I know the Patriots were there, the Giants, the Giants, and a few other teams. But I think it was about 10 teams altogether. Odell, to me, is that kind of guy coming off ACL injuries back-to-back years. I don't know what he is. I don't know what he is right now. When he was healthy, he was supremely talented. We know Odell can be a great receiver. But again, he's 30 years old now. Those ACLs are going to catch up to him in his body. We all sit there and say, 30 years old, that's not old. It's not. But for him, who has had multiple knee injuries and ACL injuries, that could cause a long-term effect for him, right? So we hope it doesn't, but who knows what's going to be on that situation there. When he's healthy, he's very talented. A team will be happy to get him, but I ain't paying him $17, $18 million a year. No offense. I'm not doing that. If he wants 11 to 12, okay, I'll think about it and be like, hey, yeah, possibly kind of thing to do there, but I'm not giving him a big bag for that one. I'm not. I need to see what he can do after a year. So if he's okay for a prove it deal, then sure. If I'm the Patriots, I would check it out and see. But it'll depend on how his trial went. If teams are comfortable with his how he's looking now and kind of go from there. Those and then some other pieces. The Jets have released Braxton Berrios because ho hum, they're looking to try and get Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers. So if they get Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be a tough AFC East. So Patriots, good luck to you because they get Aaron Rodgers with that Jets defense and their young pieces on offense. They're a team to be reckoned with. So don't that AFC is going to be tough, a division. Because like I said, you have the Bills. The Bills are still the top cream of the crop. They're going to lose some of their top guys, but they're still going to be there. You got Allen. We'll see what they do in the free agency and offseason, but that's kind of where my mindset is in that whole situation there. I think, too, that, you have to, like, Miami has extended the 5th-year option to Tua. My dad is a big Dolphins fan, and he likes it because it's $20 million compared to, Lamar Jackson gonna want like 30 plus, what I mean? I mean 40 plus. So I guess for one more year, that's fine for Miami. We'll see. Kind of, they've restructured a lot of deals to try and get in a good spot. That's kind of where my mind is on that situation there. But in general, it's going to depend on what the Jets have to give up for Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers is really talented, but where is he in his head? I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is the go with the flow. He's on a darkness retreat. He was this, he was that. Like, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is going to beat to his own drum. So if he wants to go to the Jets, I'm sure the Jets will take him. They're going to want him. They want to win. They have a team set up to win. So that one's going to be very interesting come like Wednesday, even maybe earlier. I don't know. But again, Aaron Rodgers, I feel like it's going to take a long time to kind of figure out what he wants to do. So that's kind of how I view that situation there. Again, on Wednesday, we're going to get really into free agency and see who has been signed, traded, whatever it may be. This is kind of a prelude to what we're hoping to see come Wednesday. And that day, like I said, my buddy Garrett will be back on Wednesday. But overall, that's kind of where my mind is going with this whole offseason. I think that it's going to be a very interesting offseason and a very interesting free agency and trades and even draft because, like I said, we have a big trade with the Bears and the Panthers. There could be other trades. I'm sure there will be other trades, right? They just got Chuck Clark from the Ravens, decent safety pick, nothing to write home about there. Like I said, we're going to see more trades. We're going to see more signings. And that's where I'm going to be very interested, guys. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. I think we're going to see some fireworks, honestly. As a Pats fan, I want to see some dang fireworks with this team. I want them to go get the guy. I want them to go get their top receiver. I want them to go get their line. I don't want them to go crazy in spending. I don't want that, but I want them to do something, right? I don't want them to sit on their butt, twiddle their thumbs. They're like, oh, yeah, we could have got this guy, could have got that guy. No, I want them to take action. Go for it, right? And I think that's I hope that's what they do. So like I said, guys, I want to just do it. This episode is just a quick prelude to what's going to go on. I am a little under the weather, so that's kind of why I'm just slowly kind of getting back to it. But that's kind of where my mind is going. And like I said, guys, make sure you all like, subscribe, comment down below. I see you did that, Dylan, even though it was about Garrett. No worries. I appreciate the comment, though. Like I said, this video will be up right after this, probably. So please, guys, come check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed kind of where my mind is and kind of what's this top 10 and that whole trade and all these people are going to be going on. And like I said, guys, I hope to see you guys later. So again, stay tuned to on Wednesday when me and Garrett both will be coming on, and we will be discussing free agency very in depth, right? So again, stay tuned to Wednesday. I will be posting on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all those platforms to make sure you guys know what's up. And like I said, guys, hope you enjoyed this, and I will check you guys later. All right, so have a good one, everyone.